Good evening, Director Sir, Principal Sir, and our guest, Dr. Rajat.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, sir. Sir, 2 minutes. Students are joining.
Yeah.
Good evening, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah. Good evening, sir. You're audible. Welcome to the webinar, and
Yeah.
we're glad to meet you online.
Thank you,
I'm
Prof.
Dr. I'm Dr. Murthy, Dr. P.N. Murthy, the director of the college, and we are joined by the principal, Professor S.K. Panda, Professor Madhusmiti Kandai, the IQAC coordinator of the college. Okay, Dr. Madhusmiti, shall we start?
Yes, sir. Let us begin. Good evening to one and all present here for the event of International Collaborative Webinar organized by the IQAC cell of Royal College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences, Berhampur, Odisha, India. May I take the privilege to welcome the dignitaries, our director sir, principal sir, teacher colleagues, and our guest of today's evening, Dr. Ajad, and student participants. Welcome all to the evening meet. May I request Professor Murthy sir to kindly give the welcome address.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm privileged I'm privileged to welcome all the address Dr. Mohammad Abdul Kalam Azad, HOD, Head of the Department of Faculty of Pharmacy of Moscow University, Malaysia. We are indeed privileged to have with us Dr. Azad as an expert speaker to grace this occasion. And as you all know, or some of you might be aware that we have entered into an MOU with Moscow University, Malaysia. And for the information of Dr. M.D. Abdul Kalam, let me introduce about the college. This college is called Royal College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences, situated in Berhampur, Odisha, in India. And this is affiliated to Biju Patna University of Technology, Odisha. It's a technical university organizing or affiliating the technical courses like engineering, pharmacy, management, architecture, etc. And we offer diploma in pharmacy, bachelor of pharmacy, master of pharmacy courses, besides offering PhD and DSc courses also, because some of the faculty members and some outsiders, they register for their PhD degrees and DSc also. And our college has produced about more than 30 PhD degrees and 5 DSc degrees during the last few years of its tenure. And we offer the pharmacy courses, and our college is also accredited by NAC. The college is accredited by National Accreditation Assessment and Accreditation Council, Bangalore, India, and we are one of the leading pharmacy institutions in the state as well as the country. And we are really privileged to have a MOU with Moscow University, Malaysia, where you are heading the department of heading the pharmacy faculty, and we are really privileged to have you as an expert speaker for today's webinar on nano-biomaterials, their industrial applications, and all the ways. So, as you know, nanobiotechnology or nano-biomaterials are very important in the advanced countries as well as developed countries, because nanobiotechnology or nanobiomaterials have several advantages in many areas like pharmaceuticals or healthcare system as well as construction or automobile industries, electronic and electrical industries, etc. Everywhere, nanotechnology plays a vital role these days, and I'm glad that our speaker has selected such an important topic to cover the nanobiomaterials and their industrial applications. And without taking much time, I would now request our speaker to kindly address the gathering. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof.
May I now request Rajashri Panigrai ma'am to kindly introduce guest of today's evening.
Very good afternoon to one and all. Thank you, Dr. Madhusmati Khandai. It is my privilege to introduce our renowned personality, Dr. Mohammad Abdul Kalam Azad sir. Sir had completed his B.Pharm in the year 2010, M.Pharm in Pharmaceutical Sciences in the year 2015, and he had completed PhD in Pharmaceutical Technology in the year 2021. Sir has an area of expertise in formulation development using polymeric biomaterials, nanoparticles, and drug delivery. He has also expertise in developing in vivo disease model. Sir has an expertise in soft skills like DOE, Minitab, SPSS, image processing, Arduino, continuous pharmaceutical manufacturing process. Adar sir is a professional member of many bodies. Some of few are like the Commonwealth Pharmacist Association, Controlled Release Society, Malaysia chapter, the American Association of Pharmaceutical Scientists, Italo-Latin American Society of Ethnomedicine. Apart from teaching, he has a teaching experience of around 15 years, and apart from teaching, he has many administrative responsibilities. He is the head of the Department of Pharmaceutical Technology. He is a member of Quality Assurance and Documented Information. He is a member of MPUA Document Collection and Documentation, Area 4. He is a member of Event Management. Before 2015, he had a past experience of production officer in Ganososphere Pharmaceuticals Limited from the year 2010 to 2012. Sir has attended almost more than 11 conferences organized by international bodies. To his credit, he has 60 articles published with an impact factor in various journals of international reputation. To his credit, he has 4 book chapters related to polymer composite sensor for biomedical application, chitine, and chitosan-based nanomaterials for therapeutical applications. To also his credit, he has 2 patents, and it is my privilege to introduce our Adar sir and welcome him to carry forward the meeting. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much for introducing me as a guest speaker, and I am cordially thanks to Dr. Murthy sir to giving me an opportunity, and Dr. Madhusmati madam to invite me, and all of the audience and staffs. Very good evening, as in Malaysia now evening. Uh, Today, I would like to discuss, not the lecture, because I know all of you are very senior than me. I respect your experience, your expatriate. So we will share our knowledge for future perspective. And of course, we have a good MOU for research and publications and applying for collaborative funds for international and national grants. So, I would like to share the nano biomaterials and their industrial applications. Because today there are a lot of nanomaterials, but all of those nanomaterials are not biomaterials. So this is very important. We need to know. So we have a discussion today about the nano biomaterials. So biomaterials usually derived from the living tissue or artificial materials that applied for repair, replacement, prevention, or the treatment for disease or simulation of biological systems. To synthesize these materials, we are using the technology called the nanotechnology. Involves to development and use of the nanomaterial in a nano scale around the size of large biomolecule. Can you go for next slide? Yes. So the nano biomaterials have various applications in industry base. For example, the agriculture industry, textile industry, construction industry, medicinal industry that called the pharmaceutical API, and aeronautics industry, food industry, environmental industry, and to treatment wastewater or the water treatment industry, cosmetics industry, as well as the machinery industry in uh, technology era. So the oil and gas also a pioneer area to apply for nanotechnology or nanomaterials. So we have a lot of sector to apply our nanomaterials. However, there are a few areas that are applying for nanobiomaterials. Next slide, please. Nano-biomaterials for pharmaceutical and medical applications. So as a pharmacist, we are more focusing on pharmaceutical and medical applications. There are a lot of nano chips that are using for to detect the bacteria or pathogens or to identify the protein. We have a new developed chip that can identify the types of meat. So, as a religious concern, this technology is really emerging and very popular among the people who are concerned about the religion purposes. So, for pharmaceuticals, we have different purposes to use the nanobiomaterials, such as the optical imaging. So in optical imaging, nanobiomaterials have a highly sensitivity and multicolor imaging and activatable. So these three major advantages that we are getting from nanobiomaterials. In a conventional imaging systems also can help to diagnose the disease or to know the progression of the disease. However, nanobiomaterials will give you the in details scenario of the disease. So magnetic resonance imaging called MRI, using the nanobiomaterials in this imaging system or technology, it's also high spatial resolution, no tissue penetrating limit, because the conventional material have some limitation to penetrate the tissue. So in a conventional materials will not give us the the whole scenario of the disease. So that's why the scientists are struggling last 3 decades to develop a new materials for imaging technology to get the complete diagnosis of the disease and the ultrasound imaging. So in a ultrasound imaging, also we are using nowadays nano-biomaterials that will give us the real-time imaging and also is very cheaper than the conventional technique. So another imaging systems we have using the nanomaterials is called the radionucleotide imaging. So the radio isotopes encapsulated in nano-biomaterials have been using for imaging technique, and that is highly sensitive and also no tissue penetrating limit. So the biodistribution is very uniform, and that will help us to get the complete scenario of the disease. Next slide, please. So here there are some formulations or the cargoes that have been using for a long time, and some of them have been using successfully to deliver many medicines that have a struggle or problem to deliver the targeted site or some distribution or dissolution or the stability problem. So those kinds of active ingredients are using to encapsulate or using the biomaterials as a carrier or using biomaterials as a stability chamber or called the matrix. So lysosomes and nanocells and polymer nanoparticles, and then the dendrimers or peptide-based nanoparticles, those are using the biomaterials. However, there are some recent advances in carbon dots or carbon nanotubes. Is a very emerging techniques to treat the cancer or to deliver the radioactive substances to the cancer cells specifically. Next slide, please. So, however, to synthesis or manufacture the biomaterials for the pharmaceutical use, there are many techniques to synthesize the materials. So, co-crystallization is one of the most popular techniques. Yeah, because it's called the green chemistry. So through this we can store the energy, then luminescent materials, then smart materials or the synthesis and separation technique. Solar cells also using the biomaterials and the electronic purposes. These are the future endeavor or the scope that we can use for biomaterials, because in electronics consumables or electronic accessories is now no more biomaterials chip. So in our future target to use the bio nanomaterials or materials in the electronics field as well, because electronics in general people we know the electronics means the light, table, fans, or the other computer, or those are electronics. However, there are many electronic devices that have been using for treatment or to monitor our biological systems. So those are electronics have been using for many years, but there are metals or other substances. So nowadays, the people want to use those kind of chips or electronics through the biomaterials. Next slide, please. So here are some of the biodegradable or polymer-based biomaterials or nanomaterials that have been using for manufacturing process, like sizing process or binding agent, then viscosity modifier or coloration process or dyeing process. Those are using in a pharmaceutical industry. And the textile technical, like wound dressing, drug delivery, filter media. Textile here, the textile means those textiles are using for our therapeutic benefits or prevention of the disease. So anti-static finishing, and then antibacterial finishing, and then deodorant agent we are using as a biomaterials, those manufacturing area. So here actually there are many biomaterials and nanomaterials, but very few are using in a industrial as a industrial applications. So those I have mentioned here are using for industrial applications nowadays. Next slide, please. So, however, there are many biomaterials and bio nanomaterials that are using for dental implants or dental ceramics. So, those are very popular ceramic agents as a biomaterial, that we need to use biomaterials because some materials are generating toxicity or creating other incompatibility within the body system. So in a dental treatment nowadays is very demandable due to the biocompatibility, and uh, there are no toxicity effects. Tissue regeneration. So tissue regeneration, like any burn, skin burn or acid burn or other purposes, like who have lost or damaged the tissue on their skin or body surface, they are using the biomaterials to regrow or regenerate the tissue. And then the bone implants. So there are a lot of cases like bone fracture or bone decay. So those are very highly demandable for materials that will help to uh, either rejoin or regrow the bone. So therefore, we need a material that have two benefits. One is it will help to regrow the bone or to rejoin the bone. At the same time, it will give the antibacterial effects, because usually the injured area will be affected by the bacteria or other pathogens. So those are materials have been using for multi purposes. It will help to regrow or rejoin. At the same time, it will give the antibacterial activity or effects. Another biomaterials are using for contact lens. There are a lot of people who are using the contact lens. However, contact lens have some side effects, such as the irritation with the eye, because it's not biocompatible. And there are many cases have been reported using the contact lens have the infection or irritation. So there is a industrial application of the biomaterials to manufacture the contact lens, and stem cell engineering. So there is another emerging area that have been using for biomaterials for stem cell engineering, and drug delivery is another emerging and potential area that we are working with the biomaterials for drug delivery cargoes or drug delivery matrix. But in a nano materials or to resize as a nano is really challenging. However, the existing example of the nanotechnology is a vaccine development. So in a vaccine development, have been using the nanotechnology and to deliver the vaccine, and there are many other DNA drug delivery also using the biomaterials that have been positive results, and we hope in a future there will be a personalized medicine which will be a potential therapeutic strategy in the future. Next slide, please. So, application of biomaterials in the food industry. The food industry is the largest and very important area that we need to focus. Every food we need to store or we need to distribute. So due to store and distribute, we need a standard and very good packaging material. So there is no doubt that is a urgent necessary, and we need to look standard materials that will not interact with the food or that will not react with the food materials to generate any toxic substances, or that will not create any problem in our body. So the food materials nowadays, packaging materials nowadays, we are using the plastics or some biodegradable materials. However, there are very few packaging materials are using as a biodegradable. So most of the packaging materials are using as a plastic. So plastics have a huge negative impact in our ecosystem. So we are looking for alternative packaging material. So bio nanomaterial or biomaterials would be a great materials that will be used for our future packaging materials in food industry. Next slide, please. So here the food packaging, for the purpose of packaging, we can use the biomaterial detection of pathogen. Also, we can use a biomaterial as a detection chip, and the microbial packaging that will be as a barrier to form any kind of foreign particles or foreign pathogens, and it will definitely improve the food packaging industry. Next slide, please. So the now we have a concern that the source of biomaterials. So the source of biomaterials we can get from plant or we can get from organism, microorganism. So those are if we follow those things for the synthesis of biomaterials, so we can have a positive impact on our environment because it will be considered as a green technology. Also, it will not further effect on our environment. So these nano biomaterials have been using as a detection of pollutant in soil and water, and also we are using to treat the wastewater to neutralize or to purify the water. So nanomaterials have a real industrial application in this area. Next slide, please. So these are the calcium pyrophosphate and other related to phosphate biomaterials and their applications. Actually, the calcium pyrophosphate and other related phosphate to synthesis the nanobiomaterials have been using for many purposes. So this can be used as a biominerals to mineralize the minerals in our body. Can I go next slide, please? So there are many living organisms in our body also generating the enzyme or yeah, chemical agents that are indirectly or directly affecting in our body system. So this biomineralization are have effect in our biology, medicine, or nanotechnology, or astrobiology, and sometimes the geology. So those areas are using for the biomineralization technique. So these are chemically environment controls and nucleation and growth of unique mineral phases. So this technique actually uh, the the teeth, bones, kidney stones, and skeleton of algae and muscles and magnetotactic bacteria are all example of biomineralization. So calcium phosphate materials show a positive interaction with the living tissue in our body. So it will help to resolve or to prevent the mineralization, means our to decay the teeth or to destroy our gum. So it will help if we use the biomaterial, nanomaterial in our dental implants or with the dental ceramics. So it will give a at the same time, it will help to regrow the bone or to use as a grafting agent. At the same time, it will help us to prevent the demineralization of our teeth and gum. Next slide, please. Okay. So the modern world application for nano-biomaterials in COVID-19. Once we talk about the technology nowadays, we cannot ignore the COVID-19 pandemic as in our memory, we have very pathetic memory and the struggle during the COVID-19. So still, we are really giving the priority to make a new systems or to improve the vaccination delivery systems. So here there are four approaches are really helping us using the bio nanomaterials. So point of care diagnostics. So to diagnose the vaccine infection, we are using the SIP, right? So the SIPs usually nowadays are using bio nanomaterials to detect the virus. And another one is surveillance and monitoring system. So to monitor the infected person or to monitor the progression of the infection, we are using a, a biological chip that are using nanomaterials or prepared by the nanomaterials and the therapeutic purposes. So and to develop a vaccine carrier or to develop a vaccination process. So nano biomaterials are really have a potential industrial application in those four area for COVID-19 or any viral technique. Next slide, please. So now I will be very happy to share with you that this is very new things, and I really read from the clinicaltrials.gov USA. So this bacterial cellulose as a emerging nano-biomaterials for biodegradable face mask, because even though the pandemic may be end, but still we need to use the mask if we go a very crowded area. So through this a potential and the real applicable technique and materials, bacterial cellulose, have mask wearing habit is advocated to stop communicable disease. So this is for not only the COVID or any viral, is using for other diseases as well. So it will prevent for from the communication disease if we use the mask a regular basis. So improper disposal of non-biodegradable mask have a great negative effect on our environment as well as our ecosystem. So the shift towards biodegradable mask materials such as bacterial cellulose is really necessary. And bacterial cellulose is a nano-biomaterial possesses desirable properties to replace the conventional mask production. So in our conventional mask, maybe we are using the materials that is also biocompatible or biodegradable. However, there are some materials, including the mask, is really not environmental friendly. So if we use the real biological materials, it will help or it will be more compatible with our body system, as well as it will be useful and helpful to protect our ecosystem. Next slide, please. Oh, so this is the things that the bacterial cellulose will great potential if we have a real production or industrial manufacturer facilities. So it will have the high water holding capacity, biodegradable, non-toxic, and biocompatible. If we have used the bacterial cellulose as a material to produce the facial mask. Next slide, please. So the bacterial cellulose have a huge market and is a highly demandable. It started from 2019, and if we see here the potential of this bacterial cellulose market up to 2027. So in a million and USD currency, it will be 771 millions USD market in 2027. So it is a huge market to sell the bacterial cellulose face mask. So the bio nanomaterials have a great potential in industrial application. Next slide, please. So in short, the use of bacterial cellulose offer numerous advantages for manufacturer of medical mask or the normal face mask or N95 mask that will prevent to enter the bacteria and viruses, right? So the pore size of the bacterial cellulose mask will be more accurate and the more precise as well as a biological compatible with our body system compared to the conventional or the commercial mask nowadays we are using. So there raises crucial technical challenges which need to be resolved to meet the requirement for production of good quality, because the bacterial cellulose we need to produce the raw material. So to produce the large scale formulation of the bacterial cellulose have a huge industrial potential, and there are some industry already have been producing the bacterial cellulose, and the mask is available nowadays. So hope in the future bio nanomaterials will be a potential material for industry applications in various sectors as well as our pharmacy industry. So thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to share the application, industrial application of bio-nanomaterials. And now I would like to open a question and answer session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for the wonderful session. The session is open for question and answer.
Sir, please unmute yourself.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
So thank you, sir, for your very interesting and nice presentation, explained very in a lucid language. I just want to know how does the price compare with respect to the bacterial cellulose face mask with the conventional mask? Any idea about the cost comparison?
Uh, Actually, the conventional face mask have many disadvantages,
Yeah,
and
that's true. I'm just asking about the price. Any the price?
yeah. So that's why I'm going to your point. And if you compare with the bio materials, like a bacterial cellulose will be more cheaper than a conventional face mask,
Okay, very good.
because we are using for bacterial cellulose as a fermentation technique. So in a one reactor, we really can produce a lot of cellulose.
Okay, thank you. Participants, please raise your questions if you have any.
So if no question, I just want to share something. Once
Yes,
we
sir.
talk about the biomaterials, you can search the Google. Actually, there are very few industrial applications of the bio nanomaterials. There are so many biomaterials, but is not yet to be ready for industrial applications. So
Yeah.
that's why maybe in my presentation, you maybe not seen the drug delivery systems or those things. So it's actually still developing. So that's why I haven't included, because
Okay.
I'm also working on the gene drug delivery, and we're using I'm using the guar gum, gamma-arabic, then sodium alginate. Uh, so those are called considered biomaterial, but to make a nano size is a challenging.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you, sir, for sharing your nice work. In fact, it's a coming up field, and there's a lot of future for the nano-biomaterials. And as it has applications in almost everywhere, wherever you name or whatever you name, there are nanomaterials,
Yes, Prof.
maybe electronics or in the construction industry or even the drug delivery system, drug targeting everywhere. That's why it is a very bright future, and I hope your work will be useful to the society. I now request Principal Professor Susant Kumar Pandit to kindly propose formal note of thanks.
Thank you very much, sir. Good evening, one and all. It has been a great pleasure and privilege to have been associated with Masha University of Malaysia. We want to extend our sincere thanks and gratitude for undertaking this MOU and considering us a part of it.
Thank you,
In
Prof.
general, we thank all the authorities of the Masha University and especially Dr. Azad for initiating this.
Thank you,
And
Prof.
we hope, sir, this is a beginning. We have a long way to go together, and we will be always looking forward to get associated with. And
It's also my pleasure to share and to meet all of you. And hopefully, I will visit your college, and hopefully,
most welcome,
I
most
will
welcome.
invite you to visit my faculty as
Thank you
a
very much.
as a promises collaboration. And definitely, I will invite in our next conference.
Thank you so much. And sir, coming to your talk, very very precisely and elaborately you have given. Whatever the points that are required to the audience, you have all elaborated it related
Thank you,
to
Prof.
nano-biomaterials, starting from the gums to the industries, like many big industries you have covered, but you have emphasized on the pharma related things, especially like bacterial cellulose, how to get it, how much to get it, and what is the market value of that going to be by 2027. So that's a very promising field, sir, you are working on, and we will keep collaborating with you for these type of things. And your talk was very good, sir, as I
Thank you,
have
Prof.
experienced
Prof,
it.
once you come, hopefully next year, I will take you in a in an industry. In Malaysia, we have my vax. So
Okay.
they are producing the monoclonal antibody and bacterial cellulose, and they are exporting to Germany especially.
Oh,
So we'll visit because my friend is working there as a production director. So we have a great chance to visit, hopefully.
thanks for your offer, sir, and we'll be definitely looking forward to visit. And at the same time, I also extend my thanks to all the participants, especially the students and faculty members and others, those who have participated. And obviously, it is the vision of our directors are to collaborate with such universities and carry out these programs, which will enrich all, and it will be a win-win situation for both the parties. So we are all benefited out of it. Thank you, Professor Murthy sir, for initiating this and encouraging us to conduct these type of programs. And at the same time, I also thank the IQAC coordinator, Madhusmiti Khandai, the professor of our college, who has very nicely coordinated this program. And we are looking further for this type of program. And thank you, sir. Anytime you are coming to India, please visit.
Sure,
We'll be
sure,
very
sir.
happy to have you.
Because my origin from India, Prof.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
So
And
my blood
the
is still
name
there.
itself, then the name itself is quite vibrant for all Indians.
Yes,
Dr.
Prof.
Abul Kalam Azad,
So
that is quite vibrant. So you are also vibrant, sir. And we are looking
thank you,
forward to
Prof.
meet you. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, all the dignitaries and guests. May I request Anjan sir to kindly unmute himself and speak on the dais. Please mute or unmute yourself, sir. Anjan sir, please unmute yourself. And sir, to introduce Anjan sir is our head of department.
Thank you, Dr. Anjan sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for your nice presentation.
Thank you. So I would like to invite all of you to visit my faculty.
Thank you very much. We'll be happy to see you. We'll try to arrange something, and definitely we'll meet.
Sure,
And
Prof. My home will be your place to stay.
thank you.
I would be very happy to hospitalize you.
So thank you very much. So I especially congratulate and thank Professor Madhusmiti Khandai, the coordinator of the IQAC of Royal College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences, who took initiative in arranging this MOU She worked hard. She collaborated with Professor Dr. Kalam and the authorities of my university, and she has made it. And she also participated in the conference conducted in the university, my university, and thereafter she arranged this webinar, international webinar. So she took a lot of interest in the initiative, for which I, on behalf of the college, on behalf of everyone, I'd like to thank and congratulate her for this nice arrangement. And I thank each and every one of you for active participation. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir, Professor Dr.
Thank you,
Abdul.
Prof. Yeah. Thank you so much
Thank you, sir.
to giving me an opportunity to meet with you, and I respect all of you. You are my teacher and my respectable guidance. And please pray for me, for my future endeavor, and for my family as well.
Sure, thank you. Sure. And we'll
I'm
be in
like
touch.
your, I'm like
I'm
your
like your
student.
student.
So,
Thank you.
so take
We'll be
care,
in
all of
Take care,
you.
all of you. Thank you so much, sir.
You too.
Welcome
Welcome
and
and
good evening.
Good evening.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.